Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Boy, is it beautiful out. Feels like spring. Sun's out. A little warmer.
Finally.
We work real estate in the best place on the planet in Southern California. We'll wait a few minutes here and get some more folks on.
Good morning, John.
Hi, Layla. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. Hello, Scott.
Good morning, John. Great to be able to gather this morning.
It's a joy to be with you. I tell you, I look forward to these little sessions. It's wonderful to see our body of smiling faces. I see Carrie Thompson's office is with us. Good morning, Carrie Thompson and crew. Mike Taylor.
Good morning.
Big Mike stole himself away from watching basketball, and he's with us this morning.
Big Mike in the house.
Absolutely. Can't wait till Saturday.
What's on Saturday, Mike? Is your team?
Yeah.
The two final four games of the NC2A tournament.
Very nice. And we got San Diego Aztecs, and who else?
Yeah, Aztecs against Florida Atlantic, and then we've got Miami versus UConn.
Yeah.
UConn is so good. I think UConn will win the whole thing.
Yeah.
They're like agentinc team. They're always good.
They are good.
Yeah, they're just really, really good.
They're always good. Alexander, good morning, Christine. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
We'll give it a few more minutes. Well, I was in California last week, and I got to tell you, there's something very special about the California sun. The way it just glows and wraps around you and feels nice. I was along the coast there. Boy, it just, you gotta love Southern California. You just gotta love it.
Absolutely.
When do you start surfing again, Scott?
As soon as the water gets into the 60s. Yeah, I have lost my drive to climb into a super thick wetsuit with 57-degree water, and yeah, but it's coming. It's coming. Won't be long.
Here before you know it. Awesome. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Well, guys, we'll go and get started. First of all, hello and welcome. It's always great to be with you, and thank you for tuning in. But I'll be brief this morning. We, of course, we made it through the winter. I always feel like the winter's tough on agents and brokerages and escrows and mortgages, and the volume drops, and there's too many holidays, seems like, to get anything done. But April is looking great. March was more than 100% volume over February, and April's filling in very nicely. Our mortgage company, Agent Mortgage, had a record month. Patty and Dylan just knocked it out of the park, and Jody and our great loan officers, they had a really good month. And I think it's worth talking about. Guys, we're in a credit cycle, right? So credit cycles come and go. And after a recession, typically they'll drop interest rates and make it easier to get a loan. And then when you have inflation, they raise interest rates and make it harder to get a loan. And we're in kind of the beginnings of a credit cycle where banks are making it tougher on lenders. Jumbo loans are harder to get. And of course, rates are up. And so mortgages are more expensive. And so what we have, which not every company has, is basically the deal, a provider to make any deal. And Dylan and Patty articulate this very well, but any mortgage can do the traditional easy stuff, the government loans, the Freddie and Fannie and all the stuff. But what Dylan and Patty have done a great job with is filling our stables with mortgage providers that are non-QM, that are private money. And you're going to see a lot of demand for that in the future from your buyers, just because banks are getting tougher. And jumbo loans are a little harder to qualify for, and lenders are just pulling back and getting more selective. So I'm just really proud of where we're at with Agent Mortgage and the programs that we have. Dylan can talk about this more, but we just brought on as direct lenders for the second largest private money lender in the country. So those documents will say Agent Mortgage on them, and your buyer will perceive that we're lending that money from our own division. So there's some just really great things to help you succeed out there in the trenches on the money side. And so just really proud of what they've been able to do. And escrow is doing well. We had a good month this month. Kim is closing another big one today. And we sure appreciate everyone's sending Agent Escrow their business. It makes a huge difference for the financial health of our group, for our agency. And Kim does an awesome job, but many of you contributed this month, and she had a very good month. So thank you all for sending Kim the business. Also, we've had some agent growth in the past 2 weeks. I think, I don't know the exact number, but I heard somewhere between 14 and 19 new agents joined Agent Inc. Over the past 2 weeks. And of course, we'd love to see that people are embracing the brand, loving the platform, seeing the future through our eyes, believing in our vision. And so we're just thrilled at that growth. We did lose a few agents. We closed Corona Del Mar office, as all of you know, and that caused some fallout. We had some agents that said, "Oh, I just really want to have, a sign on the street and a place to call home," and we lost a few agents because of that. And I get that. We totally understand. But I'll tell you, I spent a little time last week looking at earnings for the publicly traded real estate companies, and there's almost nobody made money last year. They all lost tremendous amounts of money. I mean, Compass lost 602 million, Anywhere lost 287 million. Many of the smaller companies lost 20 to 26 million. And so I think as a company, we're doing a great job of executing our vision, which for the last 3 years has to be a virtual company, give more money and more opportunity back to our agents. And it's interesting, the models that are doing that are the only models that made money last year. I mean, everybody else was a big loser. And I'm kind of watching some of the articles calling them dinosaurs, saying they're up against the ropes and they don't have enough cash to make it through another bad year. And so, our executive team, I think, is being extremely wise, extremely prudent, As you know, we announced the last couple of weeks that we are arming ourselves with an affiliate, a big financial partner, who will invest in our ancillaries and help us grow those. And we don't have to worry about being financially unstable as we grow, as we've always wanted to, and execute our plan. So, guys, I think we're on a great track. I love what's happening with agentinc, and we're glad you're a part of it. I think we're going to have some of our best years ahead of us. And boy, I tell you, when you do bring on financial strength and strong affiliates, you also bring on a big network. And I was so excited even last week to have conversations about how our industry is changing and how AI is going to change our business. I mean, it won't be very long, and you will speak into your phone and say, draft an offer for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 30 days, all cash, use agent escrow, put, such and such home warranty in there. And that document will draft and DocuSign to your clients just from you speaking into your phone. And there's just, that's just one thing. I mean, there's so many exciting technology developments that are going to help you communicate with more people effectively, make yourself known, exercise on your business more speedily and effectively. And so, being anchored with a big, strong affiliate like this has many benefits. And one of them is being at the leading edge of technology and AI, and being on the cutting edge of what's happening, all the exciting developments in our world. And so I'm just excited. I know our staff is very excited about the developments, and we want you to be enthusiastic and just raring to go and to share the message of agentinc. So anyway, Scott, I'll turn it over to you and tell us what's going on in the marketplace. I was on the phone this morning with one of the top executives at Concierge Sotheby's Auctions, and he said, John, I've never seen a bigger bid-ask gap. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying anyone has a big ass, okay? But these words are bid-ask gap. So, sellers, especially in the luxury end, they're wanting prices from 24 months ago, and buyers are saying, geez, I'm timidly interested in buying a luxury product, but man, I feel like I need to get it at a good price. So that gap between what buyers are bidding and sellers are asking has never been greater. And so, it takes real leadership to put these deals together. Man, you got to know you got to be convicted of where you think the market's going. You got to be convicted of the data. You've got to be convicted of the supply and demand. And you've got to know your stuff if you're going to bridge these gaps. And so it's really important to hear what Scott has to say this morning about where the data is, where it's trending, what we can use as ammunition, and be successful. So thank you, Scott, for always helping us understand what's happening in the trenches.
Well, it's so fascinating. And good morning, everybody. Glad you're here. Love the opportunity to connect, talk, brainstorm, analyze. What does this mean? What does it mean for our clients? What do we need to know so we can communicate anything in context to our clients? Because reams of information out of context doesn't help anybody. So yeah, this is intriguing. John, you're right. It's supply and demand. The numbers will always, always, always tell the tale. They always have. They always will. What we do know is what the numbers are saying today. What we don't know, no one has a crystal ball, is exactly what's going to happen in the future. But the numbers are the gift. And being able to stay in touch with those numbers in real time makes you such a resource for your clients. And that's why we stay focused on some basic fundamentals. So supply and demand in Southern California today, well, as of Friday, I guess, looks like this. Active listings, there's our supply. Active listings, about 19,000 homes. That's all of Southern California. If you've been in Orange County real estate a long time, you remember when there were over 20,000 active listings just in Little Orange County. Contrast that to all of Southern California right now is 19,000 active listings, and it is a supply crisis. So the 3-year average prior to COVID, and we keep contrasting that, little over 35,000 active listings in Southern California. That's the 3-year average prior to COVID. And most of you were in that market. What was the mantra? What was the continual conversation about active listings prior to COVID? And somebody unmute and tell me what you remember about that conversation. Active inventory, those few years, 3 years prior to COVID. What were you saying to agents? What were you saying to clients? What was the general talk out there regarding active listings in Southern California? And please don't all talk at once. Who's the brave soul that wants to take a guess if you do not have clarity on that? And Mike, you can't answer because we talk about this too much. So, okay, I don't want anybody to be embarrassed, but the truth is our continual conversation for those 3 years was about how we don't have any inventory. Now, think about that. For those 3 years, over 35,000 active listings in Southern California, and our continual conversation was, man, we could sell more homes if we had more inventory. We just don't have enough homes to sell. We just don't have enough homes to sell. That was with an average of over 35,000 active listings. Today, we have a little more than half that, 19,000 active listings. This is a supply crisis. So I mentioned in the outline for this morning, how to get an escrow in 30 days. Well, here's the path that is, to me, the path of least resistance. I'm going to go find an open house. And yes, it's going to take a little bit of work because we have limited supply, but I guarantee you in your market, there are vacant listings that aren't getting held open very often. There are always out of area brokers that have a listing in an area that are probably not holding that open. If you took the initiative to go find a property you can hold open, there's a good likelihood that you're going to have a crowd around that open house, especially if you make it a marketing event. By the way, Tom Ferry for years has told the story of what he considers the greatest open house marketing event ever held in the history of real estate. And guess who the listing agent was on that story? John McMonagle. Tom's told that story for years about how John made an open house a marketing event and all the things that went into that. And then he got hundreds of people there. Well, right now, with this supply crisis, if you find a house, and ideally you find it ahead of time, and you can make it a marketing event, you hand out invitations around a neighborhood and you meet people and you post it on social media and you do these things, there's a good chance you're going to have a serious crowd at that open house because there's just no supply. So if you want to be an escrow in 30 days, there's several things that can do that, but I don't think there's anything easier right now than getting in an open house. And I don't mean Sunday from 1 to 3, which is what the industry basically does, which is silly. Take that open house and make it your office. And don't just hold it Sunday 1 to 3. In fact, you are holding it Sunday, hold it 10 to 5, especially now it's light in the morning, it's light at night. and hold it umpteen other days during the week because you can, and almost nobody else is holding open house. Make it your office and watch what happens to the people you meet that are out there looking for homes. It is, it's remarkable. So there's your tip. And you being in escrow in 30 days is really, really critical because you need income and you need a job. You're not employed until you meet somebody that is working with you to buy or sell. Now you're employed. In fact, one of the greatest quotes ever on the economy from the legendary Ronald Reagan back in the day. He said, the greatest social program is a job. I always love that. So we all need a job, right? You don't have a job till you have a client that you're working with. And if you need a good client today, consider taking this open house focus and strategy, and with reckless abandon, go make that your game. So, so there's our supply crisis, 19,000 active homes. Pending, there's our demand. Active listings, supply, pendings, homes in escrow, demand. Right now, we're sitting at over 11,000 escrows in Southern California. So there's 2 transaction size to every escrow. So we have well over 22,000 transaction sides in escrow today. And that's good news for all of us because that's validation that there is a demand. Demand has not gone away. It's not going to go away tomorrow. And we talked about this on our mastermind yesterday morning. Real estate is the gift that keeps on giving because of people's needs and because of the change going on in their life. And Mike pointed out yesterday in the mastermind that, you know what? We don't have to convince anybody that they need to buy or sell a house. We're meeting them and hearing their story and finding out that their life circumstances are driving them to buy a house or sell a house, which is fabulous. So now the game is, I just need to get in front of some of these people that have to buy and have to sell. And right now there's 22,000 of those people in Southern California. So if you're worried that finding a client is like a needle in a haystack, it's not. And I hope that is reassuring and encouraging. And yeah, it's not the 16,000 back in that 3-year average prior to COVID. So what? Back in that 3-year average prior to COVID, we had 10 times as many agents out in the market doing the activities to find those people, holding open houses, farming their neighborhood, doing this. Now, half the real estate industry are just so depressed they can't get out of their, pajamas. They're not out. They're not out engaged, actively trying to find these people. So you get out there, and even though your competition has reduced by half or whatever the number is, the actual drop in deals hasn't gone down nearly that much. And I hope you grab onto this because it's really important to help you see the opportunity that you and I have today. And these are facts. I mean, these aren't opinions. These are just the facts on what's going on in the market. So there we go. Pendings are solid, absolutely predictable. We're heading into the spring market. Here's our time. You can make all the money in the next 3 months that you need for the year if you engage right now in the spring market, which is just starting. Okay, the other interesting dynamic, which is a function of supply and demand, is our days on market. Days on market, 53 days in Southern California right now, which in a normal market would be a severe seller's market. It's not in this market, but it just shows you why you're going to have a crowd at your open house is because there's only a 53-day supply of homes in all of Southern California. 60 days and under is a seller's market. I mean, we're at a point that it's almost, in a normal market, it'd be an extreme seller's market. It's not. 60 to 90 Yeah, you've got a seller's market that's not as extreme. 90 to 120 days historically has been a balanced average market. Over 120 days, time on market would be a buyer's market. Over 150 days, market time would be a strong buyer's market. So put all that in perspective. We're right now sitting in Southern California, 53 days market time. So from a supply and demand standpoint, which has caused that number, there's your opportunity. 3-year average prior to COVID, 64 days. And as you know, it was low compared to historical averages back then because of what we just talked about. Because back then we were talking about how we had an imbalance of supply and demand. We didn't have enough supply. Well, now we have a crisis of supply. Now, what that means for sellers, good news, they're selling at a price that they thought they wouldn't get last year. They thought the market would be heading down. So did most of the experts. Market would be heading down. Prices would be declining faster. And good news for sellers, that hasn't happened. There are markets right now because of no supply where we're getting bidding wars and prices are actually edging up a little bit. No one predicted that last year. So there's the good news for the seller. What's the good news for your buyer that's saying, I don't know if I should buy. I don't know. Prices, I don't know. The good news for a buyer is they're buying into a market that isn't just unraveling underneath them. No one wants to do that. No one wants to buy into a market going, my gosh, 6 months from now, it's going to be worth 30% less. No one wants to buy into that market. So here are the psychological fundamentals that will help you bring clarity to your buyers and your sellers and get them in the home that they need to buy, get them out of the home they need to sell, empower them with clarity on the specific opportunity that the market's giving them, and you're the winner. You're the one doing business. I hope this is helpful. Every time I review this, it helps my focus. I remind myself, I gain more clarity on exactly where the opportunity is for buyers and sellers. And so there we go. There's our market snapshot. And while most of your competition is saying, I don't know. What does this mean? What does that mean? I need to figure it out. I need more data. You don't need that. You've got enough right here with just what we went over. You have enough to go talk with clarity to a buyer and a seller, give them confidence and help them. And yes, I love simplicity, and I can absolutely reduce to the ridiculous because I love simplicity and I thrive in simplicity, but most people do too. So I hope this is encouraging and helpful. And there's our market snapshot, and there's a specific strategy for you to go get into escrow in 30 days.
Oh, thank you, Scott. Very helpful details. Mr. Mike, what do you have for us today?
Well, I just want to piggyback off what Scott just said. In real world, I had a listing appointment yesterday in Del Mar, and the price point on the house is going to be roughly 3.3 million. And the question that the owner had was, when would be a good time to sell? And what is pricing like? Because all I read is that it's going down. So I took her some data. Number one is that I did a spreadsheet and I showed what all the sales were by quarter in 2019, 20, 21, 22, and year-to-date 23 in Del Mar. Okay. Then I had another data point where I showed her in her price range where there were 3 properties in escrow, 3 properties that have closed escrow, and only 3 properties that were listed for sale. And I asked her the question, when do you think would be a good time to sell? And her answer was now. Okay. I didn't tell her when would be a good time to sell. I showed her why it would be a good time to sell. And she made and drew that conclusion herself. Okay. That is the power of knowing the market, because now you're not just given an opinion, but you're showing them where that opinion comes from. And I can't tell you how powerful that is in every conversation, and how you take and you localize it to that seller's or buyer's localized market. Okay, it's very, very important, and it gives you a heads up and a conversation that I guarantee you that they cannot have with anybody else. So I just wanted to piggyback off what Scott said, and in a real world situation, and that was it turned out very positive. The second thing I wanted to do, and I saw what the things were on the agenda, but just a friendly reminder that, you know, exercise the golden rule with everybody. Whether an agent's with our company or somebody else, always treat them and communicate with them in a manner that you would want to be communicated with. Always, 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 always take the high road. No matter what, take the high road. Be ethical in everything you say and do. Not everybody will be that way back, but all we can control is what we personally do and how we personally approach that. So take the high road, because it will pay dividends in the long run. So I just want you to remember that, and how important that is. And the other thing, and I really want to stress this because Scott touched on it, you know, we're like treasure hunters. Okay. And the treasure we're hunting for are the people who have the need and desire to buy or sell today. And all of our conversations are geared in order to ask questions so that those needs, immediate needs or future needs, are revealed. And you want to ask them questions in such a way that the people may not even know they're revealing them. So imagine yourself sitting at a bar, having a glass of wine, talking to a stranger on either side of you. And all you're doing is ask them questions about their life and what they're doing, and, you know, how the kids are and where they go to school, and, you know, and how long have they lived in their house, and, you know, do they love it? And, you know, and all of a sudden people will reveal whether or not they have a need. Those people who have the need or the desire to make a change, those are the people that you want to hyper focus on. That is your prospect. So be a treasure hunter. You know, we don't deal with rejection, because we don't ask people, hey, you want to sell your house? You know, and they say, no, get out of here. You know, we're not asking anybody that. We're just trying to determine whether or not that they have a need that we can help fill. That's it. That's all we want to do. So keep up that great work. You'll find those buyers and sellers, and they will reveal themselves to you, and they will be happy that you can help them achieve their goals. So that's it. I'm signing off.
That is good stuff. And I have another comment on that scenario with your client, but let's hear from mortgage. Let's hear from Dylan and Patty. I don't even know what rates are today, but it's good an update.
I hope everyone is doing well. I am super excited with where Agent Mortgage is going, and the month that we have had, and we couldn't have done it without the support of our great agents. So we appreciate everything, and those of you that trust us with your clients. We love working with you, and it's just been an amazing thing coming over and being part of the agenting family. So today, well, first off, a couple things. Scott, you hit it on the head. Unemployed without clients. I tell myself that all the time. When I don't have a mortgage that I am working on, I don't have a job. Flying, but I don't have a mortgage job. And so I live by that motto. I really do. And I know Patty does too, because she instilled that in me. And the other thing that Mike said, knowing your market is so important. I can tell you so many stories, especially recently, about how helping clients understand the mortgage that they're getting into is better than what they thought that they wanted, by helping them to see the payment difference, the mortgage insurance, what's going to happen with rates over the next several years, potential refis. And so same thing, helping them come to their own conclusion of, yeah, this mortgage is actually better than for me, rather than me just saying, hey, I think you should go conventional because of this. And that's it. And that's what we're doing. Helping them to understand and teaching them really has changed our business at Agent Mortgage. And so I can talk firsthand about how amazing that is. A couple of things that have been going on. Cross qualifications. We just did a cross qualification for an agentinc agent and saved them a ton of trouble. We looked at everything the LO sent us from the other company, and they said, oh yeah, this will go through, no problem. I looked at it and there were red flags all over the place. I actually thought there is no way, because this guy was a branch manager. I said, there is no way that this branch manager is actually going to try and push this loan through. And I said, I must be missing something. It's got to be me. I'm not seeing something, right? So I sent it to Patty and I said, Patty, I want you to look at this. I didn't tell her anything. I said, I want you to look at this cross qualification and tell me what you think. And she came back and gave me the exact same numbers that I came up with. This client had a 70% debt to income ratio, 3 mortgages that weren't disclosed correctly on the application. There is no way that this file was going to go through. We saved our agentinc partner from getting into a nasty escrow. They still opened escrow for only a few $1,000s less with something that we're all confident is going to close. So that is the value of a cross qualification. So please call us. Let us help you avoid those bad scenarios. Same agent. We are doing a loan for them right now. We had the appraisal back in 5 days from the time they were in contract. They sent me the contract. We had the appraisal back from the appraiser in 5 days, which is like unheard of. I text the agent. I said, there's no way. I can't believe it's actually back this quickly. And so we have some amazing partners that we work with on both the FHA conventional and hard money side that just are real rock stars on helping us and you guys absolutely look amazing, meet your timelines for contingencies. And we're just absolutely happy and amazed at what we were able to accomplish. So rates today, high fives. Very, very, very low sixes, like 6% on the FHA side. 5.875 is roughly where we've been locking most of our stuff for the last week or so, 2 weeks since all the bank closures. The Fed raising the rate quarter last week really didn't change much for us. Everything's kind of been stable on this end. So you know, it's been actually kind of nice since the last 2 weeks have kind of stabilized in the mortgage rate market. So 5.875 on the FHA, low to mid sevens still on conventional. So what I'm finding right now is that it is actually cheaper for the client by a couple $100s a month to go FHA because the rate is so much different, especially with our lowered mortgage insurance premiums that just took effect. That has severely helped the FHA market. So with lowering those mortgage insurance premiums from, especially in our market where we're dealing with $1 million properties, instead of it being 1%, it's now 0.7%. So that has saved hundreds of months in mortgage insurance on the FHA side. So what we're generally recommending right now is, you know, clients are already anticipating on needing to refi in 2 to 3, 4 years. So it's not a bad idea to get into an FHA, save your money for a couple $100s a month, and then anticipate the refi when rates come down. So that's generally what we're pushing for right now.
And Dylan, talk about down payment on the FHA, because
so California actually just passed last year and is now being implemented this month. Some additional down payment assistance programs up to 20%. We just partnered with a lender, and Joni is our expert on these down payment assistance programs. They are a silent second, so the great thing is that there's no payments on them, and the way that the law is written is that they will subordinate in a refinance, which is huge because our current program, the CalHAFA, was not that way. When they refinanced, they had to refinance the second, versus now it's still a silent second and only needs to pay off when the house is sold, which is huge because it allows the client to take their 5.875 that they have today in 3 years, refinance down to a 4% and still don't have to repay that second loan. So the down payment assistance is an amazing program that's just hitting the market like within the last couple of days. So additional down payment assistance programs.
Such great options for buyers. And by the way, if your client is set on a conventional loan, I'd be talking to them about, let's take your 30-year loan, amortize that, but get a lower rate because you're willing to pay it back in 5 years or 7 years. So, I mean, Dylan, there's a big difference in rates between a 30-year fixed and a 30-year fixed payment that someone's willing to refinance or pay back in 5 or 7 years, right? What's that differential right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's several different programs, right? There's just your standard ARMS, which is slightly lower as well, closer to the low sevens. But yes, we do have programs that also range we have a 40-year fixed as well, which is an option for those clients that say, you know what, I really want conventional, but I need my payment that $100 or $200 lower. The interest rate really isn't that much different, maybe 0.25%, which is a great program. But also, yes, so those balloon payments at the end of 5, 7, 10 years are also in the lower 7, upper 6s. So there is about a 0.5% difference there.
Good stuff. And I tell you, the biggest thing of all, by far, is that I've watched Dylan and Patty do a bunch of loans now over a significant amount of time, and they have not made one promise to one of our clients that they didn't keep. Not one time have I seen them not deliver on their promise, close on time. And not only is the client the real winner, but so am I as the agent. So thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Is that it? Anything else for the good of the order? I just want to throw out a few seconds on Mike's scenario with his seller client. And team, if you want to have one homework assignment today or this week, spend a few minutes looking up deductive reasoning versus inductive reasoning, because what Mike did is he went to his client and led them inductively to the point that that seller said, aha, I see what I need to do. But that is so different than the approach that most salespeople take, which is deductive. And the deductive approach is, here's what the information says, and here's what you need to do. And immediately the client is saying, well, I don't know. Why should I trust you? You're a salesperson. You just want me to do what you want me to do because then you'll make a commission. And it is such a thing of beauty when you learn to approach things differently, as Mike described, in an inductive approach, where you're not telling them anything as to what they should do. You're guiding them through a process where they come to that understanding themselves. Now they're empowered. Now they own it. And talk about a game changer in business. And I was on a listing presentation, Zoom presentation with John McMonagle some months back, and he used this so brilliantly with the seller. Oh my gosh, because the tension around what price should my home be and how much commission are you going to charge me? And John just took all that away by basically saying to that seller, you know what, you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you are going to pick the price of your home. You are going to pick the commission that you pay. And boy, did that change the whole dynamic of that presentation. So your homework, if you choose to accept it, go spend a little bit of time studying deductive and inductive reasoning, because it will change your career. All right, I guess I've talked way too much, so sorry about that, but good stuff.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dylan. And guys, let's go make it a great week. Let's go, as Mike says, let's go treasure hunting. And look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Have a great week.